Good evening and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It is a Talk Town special, and Steve's headline this week is Terriers lose to Plymouth as playoff hopes plummet. Yes, they certainly do at the moment. Carl, you seem very happy about that. So let's continue. How are you feeling, my friend?
Not happy, but also, resigned to the fact that playoffs are gone. Let's just have fun for the rest of it. Don't matter now.
Positive start. Steve, how are you, my friend?
Oh yeah,
good. Yeah, good. I've had a lovely piece of gammon tonight for tea.
Oh, what have you had for tea?
Egg chips and beans with it. So yeah, it's been good. Kind of fanta. Can't wait for the season to be over.
Oh, wow. And the Dewsbury Rams won today as well with your Rams shirt on over there. So that's good news for them. Good win for them. Wilkinson.
I've got to support one club that actually does well, don't I?
Yeah, they're having a good start to the season. Oliver, you're normally positive. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, very well. We've just got our own league in the Falklands now, 7-a-side football league.
What the Penguins?
That's it. So I'm now in a football team, so that's going to be good. And yeah, talking about Huddersfield for an hour. We'll see how this goes.
How do I acquire a shirt for your football team?
There's so many people ask that question. I can maybe find one from the tourism board. But yeah, it's one of them little novelty. People quite like it actually. People buy them from around the world. So,
what position are you
at the moment? Just playing yourself.
Well, no, we've actually got 100 players in our domestic league, which is insane. Yeah, which is like 10% of the population or something. So yeah.
What position are you?
Pretty big over here.
Striker. What position? Striker, defender.
Put you as a bit.
I'm all way. I was a goalkeeper at one point, and then I'm a bit too small, so I'll go left wing. Keep that position.
Ooh, left wing.
We like it. Okay. Yeah. Paul says, "Good evening, guys." And Snap Callum, playoffs are done now. Wish we could end the season now. To be fair, okay, very doom and gloom.
Boys, man of the people. Don't ever forget it.
Town had 2 games this week. We started on Tuesday at home to Lincoln. Now, that was going to be a very, very tough game. But the points were shared, 2 apiece. And Steve, I actually thought it was a really decent start from Huddersfield.
Sorry. Yeah, it was good. It was a good start. It was we came out positively against a high-flying Lincoln side. Let's be honest, have been sensational this season. We're getting the results that they have with the effective football that they play. But Town dealt with them really well. I thought, we started well. Evans was quite key, I thought. And yeah, we didn't look shaky. As Oliver constantly tells us, it's Fortress Acu, and we seem to start in that sort of vein. But I'm sure as we'll go through the game, as usual in Town fashion, it only goes downhill from the start.
Yeah, and it actually was okay. We talk about going downhill, Cal, but up against Lincoln, who are now I'm reflecting back on it over the last 2 seasons. Lincoln have probably been in the top 3 teams that I've seen come to the Acu over the last 2 seasons, including one of them's Birmingham. The other one will be Stockport. I think Stockport have played extremely well when they've come to Town, but Lincoln definitely up there as well. It just seemed a little bit different, and I don't know about you. I got there a little bit late with it being a Tuesday. I don't get there as early with work, etc., etc. But it seemed a little bit quiet. The atmosphere was a bit off, but then the performance was a lot better than what we've seen for the last few weeks. And arguably, after that 10, 15, 20 minutes, they probably deserve to be in the lead.
100%. I don't think at any point the apparently 16,000 not a chance in your life of us that were in the stadium were thinking that we'd somehow fluked our way into the lead of the game. Everybody thought that it was a well put together, sort of well built attacking display almost for the start of it anyway. It was quiet. It was really the attendance was really poor. The number that I've heard touted in some quarters sits around 8,000.
It looked like that. Let's be honest.
Sits around about 8,000, which is frankly shocking. But let's not get bogged down in the negatives at the point where we found ourselves 2-0 up against a team that were at the time top of the league or second as the evening went on. I thought we were good value for it, good value for the lead, and good value for the performance up to a certain point. But that's Huddersfield Town, isn't it? It's almost like when you come up against a team where everybody thinks that you're going to lose or play badly or whatever's going to happen, Huddersfield Town then turn up because the pressure's off, and therefore the shackles are off because nobody's expecting a performance from you, nobody's expecting a win from you. So maybe that's where our problem lies: the pressure of the game.
And Oliver, obviously watching from afar, was it a bit of a shock when you see Town go 2-0 up? Just in the grand scheme of things, because of the way the performances have been recently.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I didn't expect us to be 2-0 up. Definitely not against top of the league. Almost, I've won how many games on the trot now? 20 or 25 or whatever it is. So yeah, of course, not shocking, but I was happy with it. But yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
Look, it's just want to put some of that pause put up. Jed, I've seen your comment as well. Come to that in a moment. Tuesday night was brilliant. 2-0 up. I think we played brilliant in the first half. Why can't we play front foot like that for 90 minutes? They couldn't live with us and hated how we played. So it was a brilliant first half. Okay, Lincoln was always going to come back into it. In that first, they got a bit more possession, a bit more control. And as expected in the second half, they were going to come out better. But how was it that Town played, Cal? It was more of a case of the formation kept changing in between different formations. They were trying to get in behind and basically just force Lincoln backwards.
We did what other teams have been doing to us in the games where we've put in poor performances. We were tight and compact when we had the ball, and we forced them into mistakes. We didn't allow them to sit on the ball and sort of ponder what the next move was going to be. We were a good, solid pressing side for all of 45 minutes ish, and I think it was a really, really good first half of not only, I'm going to go down a bit like Mark Fotheringham here, but intensity and also well coached. But
loving the accent too.
No worries. I'm a showman, mate. That's what I do.
You are a showman. So
we apologise to all scaffolders in Scotland for that abominable accent.
Steve, I will come back to you then. So obviously, the goal that we concede just before, well, I said just before half-time, half an hour in, Josh Feeney heads back into his own goal. Is it a bit of a disheartener? Do you think, if Town go into the sheds at half-time at 2-0 up, it might have been a bit of a different story?
Yeah, I think to be honest, with it, when we celebrated our goals, I don't know what the rest of you thought, but it seemed like the players were a bit surprised that we'd gone 2-0 up, to be honest. And then, like you said, the goal, I mean, Feeney, he doesn't do a lot wrong. It's just one of those things. But I was surprised that Nichols didn't get there. That's what I was surprised at. He kind of fell back into the net, and it was a bit of a weird one. And you could tell, well, I know all the people around me were like, oh, that sort of sign really, in terms of it kind of like I said, disheartened us, and we just thought, here we go, it's going to be a really tough rest of the game. Not that it wasn't going to be anyway, even at 2-0 up, but you just wanted to get into half time with that bit of a cushion. And so, yeah, it was disheartening. I wouldn't say it was a really bad goal to concede, unlike the ones that we've seen on Saturday. But it was kind of like, it's just typical Town that's come right at that sort of moment, really, when the stadium, all 8,000 of us, as Cal said, were feeling really good. Well, except for the 1,500 Lincoln fans.
And Oliver, it was still enough, though, wasn't it, going into half-time? Town come out, they still have the 1-goal lead. And before the game, I think a lot of people would have said, you know what, I'll take a point against Lincoln. And okay, unfortunate to be 2-0 up and then concede 2, but that's not exactly a bad point, is it?
Well, I mean, just look at our predictions from last week. You know, you both predicted heavy losses, and I, predicted a small victory. So yeah, of course, taking a draw is good against top of the league. You know what I mean? But I must admit, though, from watching it from afar, on the TV cameras or whatever, it did seem like Huddersfield were starting to lose control just before half time. It seemed from a reason they dropped deeper and invited the pressure from Lincoln, and it just seemed that you can't really do that against top of the league, can you? Who are pretty much a championship team now, or nearly be a championship team. And then Huddersfield had to regain that early intensity, but it just didn't materialise, did it? And Lincoln in the second half, which I'm sure we'll cover, were able to capitalise on the pressure and managed to get the equaliser. So, but yeah, I would take a point, absolutely, no problem.
Paul says Sonny Bradley hated Hardy on his shoulders. He was so uncomfortable with Hardy up his jacksie. Lincoln have grown something under Skubala over 2 to 3 year period. Surely we need to take note. Darren Slater, I've seen your message about minding the gap, but we're going to stick to Huddersfield. We're not going to say too much of that. Why was Mumba stood where he was? Obviously, that was for the second goal, which Town conceded, Dave, I'm assuming. I didn't expect anything against Lincoln when I saw the starting 11, but they surprised me and played some good attacking football, but it changed when we lost Hardy. He was a focal point. We have a no winning mentality in this team. The more it happens, the worse it gets. It's up to the manager to go on the front foot and dominate, says Ian. Stephen, his new house, Bosch, yeah, he's not in his fridge today, though, but he is certainly in his new house. I did the same as soon as it went in on the back foot football. We tried to defend at 2-1, but Lincoln got more into the game and put us on the back foot. We was lucky to get away with a draw. Okay, Steve, I'm going to come back to you just to try and round this Lincoln game up. We had Ryan Hardy scoring, Ryan Ledson for Town, and I think the 2 goals were interesting. One of them from Ryan Hardy, who actually had a really, really good game, as mentioned in the comments there. What a vocal point he was. He was up for the headers. He was running in behind. He was strong. He was tough. And then something we're not seeing too often: the long throws.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it worked. It worked a treat, didn't it? Both our goals. I mean, the Hardy goal particularly was a fantastic move. It was really slick, quick passing, and sort of Hardy did really well to sort of make the goalkeeper dive the sort of the wrong angle, which he created himself with his clever footwork. So Hardy, I agree with. I think it was Paul. He was a nuisance to Sonny Bradley all the time he was on the field. Bradley couldn't handle Hardy's pace. He was a bit quicker than him. Whilst Bradley obviously he's a bit of a big meathead at the back, isn't he? Whilst he has sort of the strength, Hardy certainly had him for the steps and the pace. And I don't know whether anybody knows this stat, but averagely they are the biggest team in the entire EFL in terms of height and stature. I think they only had one player on the night that was under 6 foot. So they're a big old team. And like we've described, in the first half, we handled that really well. But I just wanted to touch on the end of the game, Kane, because for me, I hated that last 15 minutes. Absolutely hated it. We just waved the white flag for Lincoln to come and score that second goal. And I don't know what Cow was like in the cow shed. I'm pretty sure he had the same emotion as me, but I was going absolutely mental in the stands. I was like, why are we doing it? Professional footballers. Why can't we see for like 5-10 minutes what's obviously going to happen? And it was just like they were just praying for the final whistle for the final 15 minutes, and it drove me nuts. With that game, we could have come away with 3 points in that game if we hadn't have done the disastrous tactical changes or the way that we sat back and played in the last 15 minutes.
Carl, is that how you were feeling as well?
Yeah, I was surprised and extremely annoyed with the way that we set ourselves up to lose that game. We didn't lose the game, but we set ourselves up in the second half to give that game away. We took everything that we did in the first half, stopped doing it, which allowed Lincoln more room. Just at a point where they were beginning to get momentum, half time comes. So you think, right, quality. We go in, we get well drilled on where we need to be and what we need to do to be able to keep going and stop them from creating these chances that have got them where they are in the table. We are in the driving seat at 2-0. Absolutely no question. What we do is come out, sit off, allow them to keep the ball, move the ball, attempt to soak up the pressure. That goal was coming. The equaliser was coming. And thank God it was scored when it was, because a third goal was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oliver, did you... Sorry, Carl, go on.
Sorry, it was just the point that I don't want to go after him because it's in my head still early days, although he has had 10 games, so, fair game on this podcast. It was a tactical choice to play like that. They set the team up to play like that in the second half, which cost us 3 points. There's no other way around it.
Oliver, from afar, is that how you felt as well? Could you feel that the dominance from Lincoln as the game were continuing?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can only see it from the TV cameras, but I don't know. Maybe a question for Cal and Stephen. Was this formation switched back to the three at the back in the second half, or was it still? That's what the vibe I got. But again, you can't really see too much from 8,000 miles on the TV cameras. But I don't know. It just seemed like the formation switched to back to the three at the back, and then try and grind that result out. But again, as we've proven so many times this year, even with the League Grant era, it just doesn't work, does it? We're dangerous in attack, but it just doesn't. We can't sustain it. You know what I mean?
Another one for me was the substitution of Lasse Sorensen. We lost so much pace on that side and so much defensive acumen when he came on. We looked immediately second best.
I don't know.
Why would you switch that though? That's what I was trying to. Yeah, exactly. But why would you switch that formation if you're going into the break leading? You know what I mean? Unless the tactic was to grind out the result.
Because they panicked. They didn't feel, obviously at half time, that they could go into that second half thinking, do you know what? We can go beat Lincoln here. It was a more, we're actually 2-1 up. We can't actually believe it. We need to sit back now and protect the lead, particularly in the last 15 minutes. I know what Cal's saying. It did immediately make us weaker on that side, but that wasn't the reason why we were sat back.
No, it wasn't.
They were already sat back.
Yeah,
and like Mumber on the left was trying to beat 4 people on the left hand side all the time. Just pass the ball, lad. Just pass it. You don't need to. You can beat 1 or 2, but you don't need to beat 4.
But it's no wonder then that Alfie May comes on and looks a visibly frustrated footballer, because he's come on at a point where we're then sitting back.
Yeah,
we're not in a position to give him the service that he needs. So obviously he's going to be frustrated. So I understand. He cut quite a frustrated figure on the football pitch, and I completely understand why. Because you might as well have turned around to Manning and gone, why am I here? What am I doing here? What was the point of putting me into this football match if what you're going to do then is directly counter to the way I play football?
No, can I just butt in there? I think Paul makes a really good point. When Hardy went off injured, we just reverted back to the norm, no attacking intent. Could that be down to the fact that Alfie May and Ryan Hardy are 2 completely different players from what you get? So when you've got Ryan Hardy up there, he's a bit taller. He likes to run in behind. He's strong enough to hold the ball, and he can win a header as well. So you have a vocal point up top. You've got an outlet. But when it becomes to Alfie May, you lose half of that outlet, don't you? So could that be also one of the issues when you're making that change? So yes, Cal, Alfie May is frustrated, and he's not getting the ball like you want him to get the ball. But the way that Huddersfield Town now have to play the game is a little bit different because the vocal point up top is a different type of player.
Correct. But you then you don't drop off quite as hard if you're making tactical changes to fit a new attacking player. Because he's a very different style of footballer, but surely what you would do is tweak some small things to make the ball sort of make players make the runs for him. As you know, we know that he likes to feed off the scraps and have a big player hold the ball up and then he makes a run through and feed off that. But if you're asking the entire team to sit off, you're never going to create those chances against a side that is so well drilled as Lincoln.
No. I found it very interesting, by the way, and I know we'll come on to the Plymouth game, but I found it very interesting that they put Evans up top with Alfie May for the Plymouth game. Now, obviously, Evans went off on 60 minutes, was it, in the Lincoln game? So, you've got to, obviously, Hardy went off, then Evans went off, and the players that came on, I think, were Kasumu and can't remember. Oh, well, it was Alfie May for Hardy. So immediately, like you said, Ken, you've got a shorter team anyway. So you've got to play a bit different. But I do agree with Cal. The midfield and the defence was so tightly packed sitting back. And then whoever was supposed to be the front three or whatever formation they were trying to play, they were so far off the midfield because they were sat up. It just became so disjointed, and Lincoln just found so many gaps, and it drove me mad. Like it was like the front three was so disconnected in that second half. Sorry.
Okay, so just to answer your question, Oliver, in terms of formation, Paul's getting close with it. He says 3-5-2. It was 5 at the back in the second half. It was not that bothered going forward. From where I was, I saw 5-2-3, and I also saw the 3-5-2 as well. It did keep changing a little bit. I thought Town looked better in the 5-2-3, where they actually had Anthony Evans and was it Marcus Harness kind of doing the pressing a little bit further forwards. I could be wrong. I can't really remember to Tuesday. I've kind of forgotten about it. The question that Ian's putting, the question must be the manager or the players are not using their natural instincts as professional footballers. And Lee, appreciate this in a Leeds podcast, it's Town, but thank you for liking the video.
The record, okay. I think Peru would have probably fared better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin currently.
Yeah. Okay, just a very quick one because I want to move on. After that performance, Oliver, Town was still in and around the playoffs there. Did you feel as if Town performed like that going forward, they would keep in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get to the root of the reason why it was changed, the formation. Anyway, we've discussed it, but yeah, of course, we're still in the mix. At the performance, drawing against top of the league, who have absolutely dominated teams, 20-odd teams in a row. You know what I mean? Unbeaten in 20 teams. Yeah, of course. I always knew, though, as we've gone on our last podcast, it was the first ever prediction of a loss against Plymouth Argyle. So I always knew that was going to happen, and I'm sure we'll touch up on it. But yeah, I thought, we're still in with a shout. We're still in the mix. Again, it's just going to have to be a hard fight and a hard battle in the closing stages of the game. So,
Steve, did you feel positive after that performance against Lincoln and that you might be able to keep in the playoffs?
I was positive about the first half, but was my overall positivity after the game good? No. I was very frustrated. I think from our WhatsApp chat, me and Cal basically had the same reaction at full time where our heads fell off. Yeah, I wasn't positive game, if I'm honest.
Cal, same question to you, and I'm guessing it could be similar to Steve.
Yeah, I appreciate that a point is better than what we were anticipating, and that's really excellent. But on the balance of the game and then the balance of play, we went 2-0 up and threw it away. Teams at the top of the table and the very best teams in the league that we are trying to be, and because of the money we've spent, let's not beat about the bush. Absolutely should be. They don't do that. You do not do that. It was self-sabotage. So half-time, buzzing. Full-time, hopping.
And let's be honest, in the context of the games that have gone before, Lincoln on Tuesday in isolation, we all agree is a good point. But in the context of the games that we just previously played and the way that the game panned out and the performance that we put in, Lincoln was probably the best that we've been in the last few weeks. But did it make the overall feeling of positivity afterwards? No, it probably made it worse, knowing that we'd actually played all right in the first half. That's probably what
I agree.
made the
I
feeling
absolutely
worse,
agree.
to be honest.
It made it worse because
I want to.
you almost know that those players are in there.
Yeah.
And something happens, and has happened in these other games, and has happened at Plymouth, which we'll get on to, and they're not playing like the players that they are. Why is that?
Oliver, you're about to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna slightly agree, but also put my 20 pence in as well. Like the positive area of that is the fact that Huddersfield are able to do it. You know what I mean? That it proves that we're still able to be in with a chance. It's just whether it's the management responsibility, whether it's the fact I don't know, whatever, but it proves that we need to get into that zone somehow. Because we can do it. Of course we can. We were beaten top of the league 2-0 inside 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just maybe Huddersfield can't grind the result, but it proves that we can do it. That's the whole positive spin on it. That's what I'd put in there. But yeah, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? Because you guys both predicted absolutely trouncing, and then when we're winning 2-0, it's that hope. Then it's like, oh, Huddersfield might actually win this game, and then end up messing it up in the last minute. So yeah, it's
Yeah. I certainly had a bit of hope actually after the game. I will be honest with you. I thought the performance was a lot better than what I'd seen the weeks before. And as Oliver says, it does show that it can be done. Let's move on to yesterday's game as well. Couple of comments as well. Joe says, "Evening, fellas. We can't get excited about Alfie May. He's been dreadful. Legs have gone like Ledson, like Gooch. We're getting sucked into everything." Into every time. One last payday club, it seems to be. Playoffs have gone thanks to a clueless manager in Division 1 football, says Ian. Self-belief is something we have lacked the majority of the season. Players can't see 90-minute games fully. These players haven't got the fight, I think. Delmar says at 2.5 time, I'd take the point because everyone knew we'd sit back and invite the pressure onto us like we always seem to do. League One football is not rocket science. Could it be some of these players are competing against each other on the field to play and not on the training ground, and becoming more individuals? Yeah, some really good points there, so thank you very much for them ones. It was a point against Lincoln, and it kept Town in the playoffs. And then they moved on to Plymouth away. By the way, we've got to mention what a fantastic following. Over 600 Town fans making their way down to Devon for this one. Considering the way the performances have been recently, it just shows what great support this club has. So well done to every single person that went down there. I certainly take my hat off to you. And Oliver, it seemed like it was getting a little bit tasty. Couple of fouls which brought yellow cards with Sean Rowan and Barley Mumba. And then on the break, Huddersfield Town take the lead. They were probably up against the run of play, but Humphries takes his goal superbly well, and Town lead 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, you'd take it, wouldn't you, travelling that far to Devon? I mean, I've lived in Plymouth. I started my little career at Plymouth Media, and it's a very tough ground to go to, home park. And like I say, cleverly has turned his team around, and now they're challenging for playoffs when they were pretty much down and out at one point. So again, you could use their story as motivation for Huddersfield. But in terms of an early start again for Huddersfield, again against the run of play, Cameron Humphries does really really well. To be honest, to bring the ball forward and poke it in. Well, not poke it in, but as a good challenge, and in it goes. So 1-0. But again, it's that hope again, because then you're like, oh, here we go, we're leading, we're doing all right, and then it falls away, which I'm sure we'll cover later on. But yeah, it was a good start, I would say. But yeah, physical from Plymouth, physical from Huddersfield, and you always expected that between these both sides anyway. But yeah, it was good. Good. At least we got the goal though.
We did get the goal, Steve, didn't we? And it just seemed to be okay. Just gonna have to dig in here, and can they keep hold of it?
Yeah. First sort of game, Cam Humphries has actually done something really expertly well. In my opinion. Obviously, I've been a bit critical of him in previous weeks, but it was a well taken goal. That's the sort of player we were hoping that we were going to get from Ipswich, where he, as you've said before, a bit of a box to box type, makes a fantastic run and a great finish. I did think, and I don't know what the others think, but I thought Mumba was a little bit lucky with his challenge, if I'm honest. It was a bit reckless. But then there was a reckless challenge later on in the game by a Plymouth player, to be honest. I can't remember if it was on Ledson, but yeah, he was a bit lucky as well. So yeah, physical. I still thought Plymouth were the dominant side even in the early stages, even though we did get that goal. But it was kind of a semi-positive start. Again, a bit of a surprise to take the lead, to be honest, but we'll take it.
We absolutely will take it. Paul says town fans endure this and still turn up. Hats off to them. Carl, how did you see that first half? Long trip down to Plymouth. Wasn't going to be easy. In fact, the last time we played them, they were in the relegation zone. Back in, was it November?
Mm-hmm.
Big turnaround. It's going to be tough going down there.
Yeah, and it was. I don't think by any stretch we found it easy going. It's a wonderful, it's easy to look back at the game now and look at everything that I've got sat in front of me here that tells me everything I might need to know about a football game without being there in person to see it. But, we didn't have a lot of the ball before we scored. We weren't creating a great many chances. And like you said, Ken, I do think it came against the run of play. But what a goal that is. What a sort of solo effort. Really, really well. He takes on, 4? Sort of skips past 1, 2, 3, 4 and a smart finish. But then after that, I felt that we got a little bit of the Lincoln bug where we'd gone 1-0 up and then we lose the sharp edge. We sit back on our laurels a little bit and, thankfully they didn't create too much in the first half. But, it didn't improve then in the second half. And you saw what came from that.
Yeah, well, we've got Mark on, a Plymouth fan. Thank you for joining us, Mark. He said, as soon as we scored, your team collapsed. And it was a collapse, wasn't it? I mean, unfortunately, that first goal, there's been a couple of great blocks, a save in there, but Cal scoring from the edge of the area. I mean, it's just such a great strike from Dale. You just saw the heads go down, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and so early on in the second half, 47 minutes, that's a bit of a nightmare for Town then, because we're not great at picking ourselves up when things are good. And when things are currently as bad as they are, you could see it only going one way. And it did. Unfortunately, we didn't get ourselves going again. And for me, what says it all is that I don't really read too much into the expected goals statistic because I think it's like a made-up thing. However, this one is quite funny. Plymouth 4.14, Huddersfield Town 0.84. We did actually score one, so we're going backwards, chaps.
Yeah, Oliver, second half. I mean, we've got lots of comments coming in here. We will go through them in just a moment. But what did you think of that second half? Obviously, Dale gets the first. What's Ashley doing for the penalty? His ball's going out of play. There's just no need to put your hands on him. Is that being youthful and naive?
Well, I don't really know if it's youthful or naive, but yeah, I mean, there was no one around him. It was just him and the other player. I forgot his name, but it was a bit of a careless challenge, wasn't it? And like I say, that it was right in front of the referee as well. The referee pointed to the spot, and again, silly challenge. And then it chose, kind of altered the run of play. Then that means Plymouth were leading 2-1, and then Huddersfield had to go on the attack. But again, similar scenario to Lincoln. It seemed that Huddersfield changed it up and sat back and tried to hold that 1-0 victory, 1-0 lead. Sorry. Um, but yeah, I mean, like say penalty. If it wasn't a penalty, whatever, it still was a penalty. The referee blew it and got the goal. And fair enough, Dale in the first goal, absolute rocket for Plymouth. There's no stopping that. Even though we had about 8 players in the box, but yeah, Jan Alwick was no chance to get that at all. I mean, he had so many players in front of him. It was like a wall, wasn't it? But yeah, I don't know, silly challenge, wasn't it? Really.
Steve, your facial expression changed as soon as I mentioned Ashley on a penalty. Do you want to just talk to me about it? Cal's laughing now. Do you want to just talk to me about it in the third goal as well?
Yeah, well, firstly, on the first goal, we have about 6 chances to clear the ball.
Yeah.
And we don't. And when Oliver said there's 8 men in the box, there's 11 men in the box. Oliver.
This happened at Wigan as well.
There's 11 men in the box. If we have one person up top that can try and challenge when that ball is eventually cleared, it might not come back, but it does because we've got nobody up front. Honestly, I might as well smash my head against a brick wall. I don't understand why we've got 11 men in the box. Anyway, the Asher penalty is just. I don't understand it. I don't like the ball's nowhere near him. It's like it's sailing out of play. It's going to hit somebody in the crowd. That's how bad that ball is when it goes back in. And I just whatever the lad has thought there is just mindless.
What I enjoyed was his anger at the referee, as if it wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
he puts his hands on him, and to the point where his hands are so firmly on him that when the lad starts to go down, Asher starts to go down as well.
Yeah,
he covers himself. The referee blows the whistle. He turns around to the referee and goes like that, as if he's not going to give a penalty.
The way that he turned around to the ref was like, "Me, my fault. You've pushed him over, ref. I've not pushed him over. You did it." It was a well taken penalty. Obviously, by that stage, Lee Nichols had gone off with a head injury, unfortunately, which I think sort of changed the nature of the game slightly. And the third
little leadership we have at that point.
Yeah, I mean, basically the captain has nearly left the ship, as it were, because there's no leaders left. But the third goal is just horrific. I mean, what is Jack Alnwick doing? I mean, the lad hasn't had a kick at all since he arrived at the club, but he's not like a 19-year-old goalkeeper. He's not like Kinski, the Spurs lad, who's obviously had a nightmare recently for Tottenham. You know, what is he, 32? Is he 32, 33? You know, he's an experienced goalkeeper, and it just rounded off the day, didn't it? It started well, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And that third goal was just some town season up. It was. I'm sorry to say it, Ken. I can't get through a podcast without saying it. It was crap.
I'm just keen. I can't remember who it was now. In the build-up to the third goal for Plymouth, somebody for Town makes a mindless and pointless header across half. I think Feeney gets his head to the ball. He doesn't look where it's going to end up. He just gets his head underneath it, and it lands straight at a Plymouth player who's then able to play the ball down the wing that creates the opportunity to get the ball across. Think before you do something. What you had all the time in the world. Why are we insisting on being so reactive all the time?
I mean, a number of players, to be honest. I mean, nobody had a good game. I mean, Gooch was horrific. I'll be honest. I don't understand what that lad was trying to do on the pitch.
I don't think he's fully fit, mate, to be honest with you.
Well, no, he probably. But to be honest, I would have dragged him off halfway through the first half. It was that bad. I'd have put Sorensen on, but yeah, nobody had a good game. But that third goal game was, and they should have got a fourth just after that. By the way, when was it? Pebble went through. It was a 2-on-1, and the lad he completely mucked his effort up, and it just went wide of the goal. That game should have ended 4 or 5-1. Absolutely.
What really annoyed me as well, and I'm really sorry, I keep I know you're keen to move on and we keep steering it away to other problems. But so Town had a break. 3-1 down, Town have a break through is it Harness that carries the ball, and absolutely fair and square. The Plymouth lad makes a brilliant tackle, sort of last ditch challenge, gets the ball, and they clear the lines. But what frustrates me unbelievably is that we're not playing to the whistle. Yeah. Everybody then just stands and stops and puts their arms up and protests to the referee. The ball's still in play. He's not blowing his whistle. You could have scored. If Alfie May doesn't stop running and puts his hands up and shouts at the referee, he's got a clean ball through in on goal. And we let the chance go. And we're just not playing to the whistle. They don't care.
The squad's mentally shot. And that's amazing to say that when we had literally 14 new signings in the summer. But the whatever's happening, and we spoke about culture last week, so we don't really need to go over that again, but it's just a continuation of last week's conversation. It's the same problems. I mean, going to Plymouth, like Oliver said, it's a tough place to go in at home park, and Tom Cleverley's changed it round magnificently well. I mean, he literally was a dead man walking at some point. He's like Casper the Ghost. I mean, he's come back to life, and they're making a late push for the playoffs. I said, was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. We won't win another game. Tell you what, my predictions might come true because we've only got 8 games left.
Well, they just played 2, Steve. Right, let me go through some comments, guys, and let's see what everybody else is saying as well. Terry 930, evening lads. Well, hope Nagel is ready for 6-7k sales in season tickets next season. And looking at the teams that are coming down from the champ, we aren't doing it next season either with these bunch of idiots. Okay, Humphries is slightly improving every game. Unfortunately, the team are all on long-term deals, so can't even get shut off of them. Darren Bullock was going mental on social media last night. Fair play to Bully. Steve's gone. He's had enough of us. His fridge must have timed out. Alan Lee, aka Evans, played okay as well. He wanted to get the ball forward all the time, never looking back. I think that's been a positive thing from Anthony Evans since going back into the team a couple of weeks ago. He has always looked to try and get forward. Mark says Plymouth exploited our set piece weaknesses, and that was the main difference. They also have more physical and tremendous momentum at the moment. Luke says playoffs will be out of reach when it gets going tough. The players have no bottle, mentally not strong enough. Once we concede, our heads drop and panic stations kick in, and we turn so negative. Shambolic second half, 8 players in the box, says Jed. I think Oliver's actually said it was 11 players that were back in the box. First time I've heard Liam Manning being honest, saying that we were lucky to be in front and we were second best for basically all of the game. I don't think the players had to work hard for their goal, says Dale. I think they've lost fight to get back into game. Game went away from us very quickly. If you want to lose a game in this division, do not, if you want to lose a game, do not attack and sit back, says Ian. We just bottled it. No heart, no leadership. I could go on, says Jed. The penalty was a fair one, but it was very often it gets missed by the officials. Struggling to see what the answer is. We're 9th with a 3rd largest wage bill. This season was a reset button, so the majority of this squad are all on long contracts. They were like headless chickens trying to get the ball away for their first goal. I did not watch the game, but as I guess it was 2 shots on target by Chancellor like me. If it was more, says Ian, and Goodman vibes. Steve, I thought, says Paul regarding Alnwick's bit of a blunder. Who's to blame? The players aren't up to it. Everyone's saying that with the quality we have, we should be top. I don't see it. And then the manager playing square pegs in round holes. Why don't we press any more? Says Joe. Teams have caught on to our defensive frailties. We struggle so much at defending set pieces, crosses, and long throws. I've said it before. They're just not bothered. We're going through the motions till the end of the season. They haven't got any fight in them at all. So where is it gone wrong, boys? And why is this stuff all over again? Lots of great comments. So thank you very much for everybody who has done so. I think I'm going to come to you first, Cal. Is there anything, obviously some great comments in there. Is any that stand out to you?
I'd say that comment there from Joe, the who is to blame. The players aren't up to it. Everyone's saying with the quality we have, we should be top. I don't see it. No, I also don't see it. But it's not necessarily saying with the players that we've got, we should be top. But with the money that we've had to spend and the wage budget that we've been allowed and the way we've been talking about how we're going to go about our business and how we're going to be, this football club we're going to be, and everything that sits around the football club, all the talk has been about streamlining, making performances better, making things better generally. The frustration comes when that isn't happening and actually it's going backwards. Because it shouldn't be. The players might not necessarily have the quality to be up at the top of the league, although for the record, I think they do. But because of the money that we've paid for them and what were the third biggest wage budget in League One?
Up there, yeah.
It should be up there. If you're talking about bang for buck, we absolutely should be. And these players are better than what they're putting in because you've got to look at what they've done before to know that. It's not hard to look at Alfie May and go, that's an excellent signing for Huddersfield Town. Suddenly he comes to Huddersfield Town, the striker's graveyard, and we see nothing of him. Joe Taylor, awful at Huddersfield Town, goes out to Wigan. He's scoring goals for fun. So what are we doing in the club that's stifling these players, stifling this team, and preventing any sort of upward momentum? Comes back to culture. And that starts at the very top and works its way down to the very bottom.
Oliver, anything on top of what Cal said or any of the comments that we've had in?
No, just to add on Cal's points. I mean, I totally understand that kind of key mentality. But, I mean, money doesn't... We can invest as much as you want, but money doesn't buy a league. For some clubs it does. Some clubs it works out. Wrexham and other places, other teams as well. They've done really, really well with their financial backing. But I think I totally agree. With Cal's point to a certain extent. But I think the expectation. I think that is what. The expectation of us walking the league first or second place against that hope. In the pre-season we'd expect it to be first or second. The reality is, and again, we're only we're in the last run in, so we're still in with a chance. We're still in with a fighting chance. But the expectation is we're a 6th place, 7th place, 8th place team. That's it.
Who set that expectation?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, who set? Well, at the moment, look at the reality where we're at. Look at where. Oh, who set the expectation?
Evan Wager set that expectation on the radio. He told Radio Leeds that first and second was the ambition. Playoffs was unacceptable, and finishing outside of the playoffs was unthinkable.
But of course, as a chair, he was selling tickets, wasn't he, during pre-season? Of course, he's going to hype up Huddersfield to try and get people in to the stadium and to watch the games. But the reality is, you're totally right. I totally get it. But the reality is, it's not the team. We're not a 2nd place or a 1st place team this year.
Steve, over to you. Just to speak about what Cal and Oliver said, or anything in the comments. which we've just
Yeah,
got
I mean,
the new ones in, Steve. So let me just read them out. Paul says overcoaching, playing players out of position, not playing to the strengths of the team. I could go on. Nagel needs to get his finger out and sort the mess out at the club. As the fans, as myself, will not be renewing season tickets. How many championship players did we sign? Do they think they're too good for this division? Steve?
At the start of the season, we did sign championship players, or what we thought were championship players. But they've turned out to be average League One players, haven't they? And that Oliver is absolutely correct that the expectation of what we had at the start of the season has turned into the reality of we're at the moment a 9th place League One side. Just to touch on the other thing that Callum said, which is absolutely true, factual and correct, is that the expectation was set by the owner at the start of the season of top 2 or nothing, basically. Now, Oliver's point was he got to big that up at the start of the season to sell tickets. Part of the reason a lot of people did renew the season tickets is because A, the signings that were made, B, Alfie May was purchased, which had a lot to do with it, C, the way that they were talking about what they wanted to do and the ambition. God knows how they're going to sell season tickets for next season. That's just off the back of what Cal said. You know, we saw against Lincoln, the crowd, yes, it was a Tuesday night. We haven't seen crowds that low since the last time we were in League One, if we're being completely honest. I think the hardcore support of 9K, I think we're back to them days for next season. I absolutely do. And it's sad to see. As Cal said, the culture, we've mentioned it loads of times throughout this season, not just the culture in the dressing room, which we've talked about Kane previously before, the culture inside the football club. I think Joe, yes, makes a good point in terms of he doesn't see the quality necessarily that is there. However, you know, we said against Lincoln, you know, we showed the quality. We saw 45 minutes of what this team could potentially do. We saw it against Bradford. We saw it against the game after Bradford, Blackpool. You know, we've seen this team throughout the season have moments of real quality and being able to produce when they want to produce. But it's not enough. They don't produce it enough. And that's why we're 9th. And I think we'll finish lower than 9th, gents, if I'm being totally honest. Because if my prediction happens where we don't win another game this season, we won't be finishing in the top 10.
Okay, so you and Callum mentioned culture. So what is the culture? What do you believe the culture is?
A losing one. It's a losing culture. It's a culture built on sand, Kane. There's no solid foundations there. If it doesn't work, we'll sack a manager. We'll then employ a similar sort of manager, which we know the players don't like playing that formation, seemingly. They don't. Obviously, nobody seems to think it works, that formation and style of play. The crowd certainly don't enjoy watching this type of football. But do you know what? We're going to do it anyway. We're going to ignore all them factors and we're going to do it anyway. The culture then is also set by the owner and the chairman coming out and giving, you know, these wonderful lines, these sound bites that you see on diaries and you see on, you know, radio interviews that he's done before. And that's great. I love the enthusiasm that he's got for the club. It's fantastic to see. But you can't just keep saying these things. You've got to do them. We've mentioned loads of times, by the way, because he says that he watched podcasts, so hopefully he's watching this one, and we have interviewed him before.
Hi, Kev.
Hi, Kev. Now, if you are watching, Kev, you've said before.
Whoa. We under no affiliation with Huddersfield Town Association Football Club, and at this point, I do not have the funds to represent myself in the court of law. So what I'm saying is parody. Thank you.
Yeah. So exactly what Carlos just said. But what I would say is, listen, what frustrates me and frustrates a lot of fans is that there's too much speak and there's not enough doing and focusing on the correct things. You've done a wonderful job with the stadium. You've done a wonderful job off the field. There's lots of great things around the club that are far, far better than they were before. And we've said that many, many times on this podcast throughout the season, right? But the thing that's the most important in British football is what happens on the pitch when them 8, 9, 10, up to 16,000 fans go into that stadium. What do they want to see on the pitch? And we've not seen that. And that's the main element of a club in Britain. And that's the disappointment. That's the culture, Kane. That's where it starts. That's where it ends. And that's where it's failing, my friend.
So, on to you, Cal, then. Would you prefer the chairman to come out and go, not talk about wanting to be in the top 2?
I'd prefer, yeah, absolutely.
Right, why?
Because it avoids then this. How many chairmen do you know that do that?
Just a question.
I'm answering a question with a question. But how many chairmen do you see of any football club come out and definitively say we will be here at the end of the season?
They come out and say where they want to be.
They just come out and say where they want to be. What they don't say is it's unacceptable to be anywhere else. That's the difference. You twist your own hanging rope when you say things like that. My problem is as Stephen used the exact word, sound bites. Sound bites is what it is. It's things that get clicks. It's things that get talked about. It's things that get engagement, which is wonderful. But you've got to back it up. You've got to back that up with evidence that what you're saying is going to happen. And so far, we've had 3 seasons where what has been said is not what's transpired. And now you're in a position where you've got to sell a product that's unpopular, unattractive, and frankly, you're flogging a dead horse when you're trying to sell Huddersfield Town season tickets.
They're expensive.
At expensive prices, more expensive than they were previously, thanks to the decisions of this owner. So, how do you do that? Now, how in this position do you do that? Because every soundbite so far you've said has turned out to be not quite right or incorrect. And by the way, absolutely wonderful work with the stadium and infrastructure. That cannot be faulted, right? In that regard, it has been a success. But a football stadium is a football stadium. And as a commercial venture, only works if the football is driving the crowds in, which it isn't. And Lincoln was a good example of that. So you're now flogging a product where I think the credibility's gone. I think in that last diary you really, really saw a lot of the comments were talking around, well, you talk a good game, but where's the proof? How do you back it up? Because all you've got to back it up is a football club in which they're at the lowest ebb that they've been since you took over, with the highest prices, with the highest wage bill, I suspect with higher debts, but it owns its own stadium. How do you engage fans to buy season tickets at that?
I'm just going to put this up from Ian. He says, Dean Hoyle's ambition was a Prem. He often spoke about it. Oliver, I'm just going to come to you. Cal, I know you got more to say, and I will come back to you, but there's nothing really wrong with coming out and speaking about your ambitions, is there? Or is there? Do you need to do it a certain way?
A certain way. I mean, yeah. To say we're going to finish in, I mean, his ambition was in 3 years, wasn't it, when he was chairman, to be in the Premier League. So maybe it was a bit of a shock. Maybe it was sort of realised maybe that wasn't feasible at all. Who knows? I mean, again, I can't speak for Kevin Nagel. I mean, from what I see, I think he's done really, really well from behind the scenes. Really, really well. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, his ambitions was 3 years Premier League football. maybe that wasn't so realistic when he said it. Who knows? Maybe he was badly advised. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it just creates this sort of expectation of Huddersfield walking the League One league. Not, it hasn't happened. Clearly, it's not there. And again, we're in. And I just want to add, though, I know it sounds all negative and stuff. We're still in a fighting chance. I just want to be the positive person here. We're still in. We're still 3 points away from the playoffs. It isn't the end of the season. I know some of you guys have said it's the end of the season. It's not the end of the season. We've got 8 games to go, is it, or 7? 4 of them are at home at Fortress Aku. I've got to say that because I like saying that. And we're still in there. We're still in a fight. The whole point of it is we're not automatic, but we're still in a fight in the playoffs at the moment. Talk to me at the end of the season. We can see where we finish.
And that's important, isn't it, Oliver? The 7 games left. It's not over yet. There's still stuff to fight for. Now, Cal, Steve, I get where you're coming from, and I agree. I don't think the performances have been great. But there is still something at the moment.
Cal, do you want to go first?
Can I answer your question? Well, it's not really a question. All right, then. There is still something at the moment. Do you think we'll get there?
No.
There you go. But what's the point? What's the point in extending your sort of hope when you know the answer at the end?
I would just
trying to be more like Oliver.
Right? If we get in the playoffs, do you think we'll win them?
No.
Well, that's another.
Do you think we'll stay up next year?
No.
If Cal managed to get into the playoffs now, Cal, then I would say that yes, there is a good opportunity to win the playoffs. Because if the manager can turn it around now to get in the playoffs, then yeah,
absolutely.
Do we stay up next year then in the championship?
But who knows what happens in pre-season? That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, let's just look at one step at a time. Firstly, he's actually getting in them playoffs, isn't it? And then, sorry.
Yeah. No, sorry, carry on.
No, I was saying that, if we look at our last 7 games, this is do or die, isn't it, really, for all our fixtures? We've got 4 at home. The 3 away games, Bolton, a playoff rival, should we say. Leyton Orient, which we've done all right against. And Wimbledon, they're the away fixtures. So, it's always possible. But again, maybe I'm hopeful. I don't know. Maybe I'm just flogging a dead horse. But there's still chance. There's still mathematically possible to get in there.
Oliver, I'm glad you're positive, my friend. I am very glad you're positive.
I'm trying.
Look, there's international break. Next game's being postponed due to the fact that I think it was Cardiff was supposed to play, and they've had international call up, so we're not playing until Good Friday against Reading at home. I believe. I think it is Good Friday. It's Friday the 3rd. Friday. So really, gents, we're over an hour here. We don't really need to speak about too much going forward. We've got nearly 2 weeks to wait for a game. But I think what we can speak about, Cal, is there's nearly 2 weeks here to have a real good review of what we've seen over the last 10, 11 games and go, right, we've got 7 left. What can we do here?
I hope so. I hope that's what happens. But my disappointment will be complete if the same traits and the same mistakes are being made in that Reading game, because there is no excuse then. There is no excuse of, well, we've had a lot of games to play, or we've not been able to get into the detail of what we've been asked to do. You've got 2 weeks solid where you don't have a game, and you can really get into the detail and do some real good work on the grass. But is it going to be for nothing? And at what point are we prepared to call it that was the game where we knew we weren't going to do it? Because for me, and I think a lot of people, it would probably be Reading at home.
Steve?
I already know that we're not going to do it, so I don't. I love Oliver's optimism. I do. I love Oliver's like one of them rubber ducks where you put in the bath and it just never sinks. Always positive. No. Well, but yeah. I really hate this. Oh, well, he's got 2 weeks on the training ground and he can get into the detail. What do they do all week? What do they do all week? They're literally paid to be at Canal Side, to look at games, to work on the training field. If they're not working on it when they have a full week, what's 2 weeks going to matter?
All I'm trying to do is give him enough rope to hang himself. I agree with you. I agree with you.
You know, when I go into work, or we all go into work, and we have our different tasks and challenges of that day, like we have to concentrate on so many different things with our jobs, right? We've all got busy jobs. For a footballer, literally their main task leads up to that Saturday if they have a full week of training. So what is it they're doing? I don't. This thing about, well, there's an international break and they've got more time on the training. We played better when they didn't have time on the training field. We actually played better when they have less time on the training. So scrap the training field. Just give them a week off. Go to Marbella. Take the lads to Marbella. Have some beers on the beach, right? Come back Friday afternoon and just play on Saturday. That's all it is.
The absolute car crash on Twitter if they were spotted having beers on the beach and then lost to Reading.
You know what, Steve?
No,
I would be on board with that. I would generally be on board with that.
Yeah.
You know what? They've got a lot of pressure on them. Go for some team bonding. Get away from it all. You know what? Have a regroup. Go on the lash in Marbella. Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Just do something different, because whatever you're doing on the training field, week in, week out, is not working. So why don't we just scrap that bit and just go play football on the beach in Marbella for a bit?
In fact,
it's going to be lifting this season, lads.
I tell you what,
jumpers
recall Herbie Kane, go for a night out in Leeds, get some fight back in there.
For God's sake.
That Herbie Kane down at Plymouth.
But I just feel that they need to do something radically different if we're going to get anything out of these last 7 games to achieve a playoff place. I am 100% with Cal, by the way. If we got in the playoffs, we will get ripped to... Honestly, we will. But it'd be such a town thing to get through the playoffs, not score a goal, play absolutely horrifically, get to the final, be 0-0 and win on penalties, and we go up. It'd be so town to do.
That's good.
Oliver, what do you want to see over the next week or two while there's an international break? Do you want to send them to the Falklands, like Phil says? Get them to the Falklands with some pink penguins and have you as a referee?
They can party over here at Port Stanley and have a look at the International Football Stadium here. So, yeah, it's a bit different to Canal Side, I can tell you that. But anyway, I don't know. These 2 weeks, again, this is the charge. This is the last-ditch attempt, isn't it, to get back into them playoff positions. There's no sort of ifing and butting anymore. We have to get the results to get in there. There's no sort of, when that was unlucky, we can go again next week. This is it. You know, this is the end, last run-in of the season. We have to get them results. And I think it is possible, absolutely, looking at our home record, the away games that we have as well. But again, these 2 weeks, if Stephen prefers the Marbella trip, then if that works, then go for it. But obviously, Liam Manning will know how to. That's what he's paid for, to get the best out of his players, and that's what he needs to do. That's what he's paid for. It's proven in the 2 games against Lincoln and Plymouth that we can do it. We just need to sustain that for 90 minutes. But yeah, like I say, 2 weeks. I reckon it's good. It's a good chance to recuperate, have a review, go to the classroom. I don't know. Go to Marbella. Come to Port Stanley in the Falklands. I don't know, but I think it's good.
Not the classroom. Not the classroom.
Liam Manning's taking them all out for a night out in Bristol.
Well, no, this is it. This is the point I'm trying to make. He is paid to do this job. This is what he's hired to do. And this is his opportunity now to get the best out of the players. And he's got 2 weeks to get back on the road against Reading. And then because he's got no other chances. If he loses against Reading, as Cal mentioned, we're in a bit of a sticky situation, but we're still in there.
Jed says, send them to Bangkok next week. I'll show them a good night out. Interesting, Jed. Cal.
Will Jed be the tour guide? Jed,
yeah, he will.
Details in there. We'll pass them on to Club Net.
We will. Cal?
I'd just because I quite like to be a bit of an agitator. I'd quite like to back Oliver into a corner here. So if after what you've just said, Manning doesn't get them into the playoffs or doesn't get them galvanised for this last run in, he's got to go, no?
There you go. Convenient, my microphone was on mute.
Nice.
It's got to go. I mean, there will have to be conversations, obviously, won't there? There'll have to be considerations on his future. But I'm not even looking at that. You know what I mean? Like, there's not even looking at his future.
One
This
game
is his
at a time.
chance. One exactly. There you go. You got it. You got the soundbite. You got the media clip. One game at a time. Let's not look at that for now. Let's just see how he goes. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, this is his chance. This is his chance to sort of get us back on the road. But yeah, 2 weeks to do it. Reading, it's possible.
Steve, any final thoughts?
No, just like I said, get yourself to Marbella. Let's get on.
Steve's had
Play.
enough. Steve's done.
I wish season were done. I honestly wish Plymouth was the last game and season were
Steve's
done.
on beach.
We can get to World Cup. We can watch England fail to play football at the World Cup and then come back thinking really positively about Huddersfield Town in the summer.
Steve, have you got anything positive in your bones? 'Cause I'm not sure you do.
Yeah,
Gammon for
Oliver's,
tea.
Well, it's that is Gavin. That is Gavin.
the positivity. Yeah, nobody got injured at Plymouth. So, oh no, they did, didn't they? Because Liam Ickles went off. Yeah, so that's not even a positive. So no, I ain't keen really. Yeah, early prediction.
Steve, that was just in general. That was not about the weekend.
Oh,
that was just
in general.
Your life.
Yeah.
In general, like yeah,
New
life,
fridge,
life,
got a new bed.
life,
Yeah, new bed. Yeah.
We've moved my partner's goldfish today from her parents, and he didn't die in the journey, so that's a real positive.
Surely he just thinks that nothing's got, because he's like immediate surroundings stay the same.
You are?
What are we talking about here? Keep the podcast going.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, next game is Reading at home, so we probably won't have a podcast next week. So make sure you get your predictions in for that one.
We will, live from Marbella.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from you, Oliver, before we go on to our predictions for the Reading game?
No, I'm just happy for Stephen's fish for not dying. That's good. It's really good to hear. But no, nothing really. I think we've said a lot here. We've said a lot of our points, and hopefully a lot of the fans can comment and offer their opinions too. But
Cal?
I have nothing more to add than what I've already said. You know, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Okay, right. Well, let's get some predictions then. Oh, wow, it starts well, doesn't it? Town 1, Reading 2. Cheers, Paul. Thanks for that one. Mark says Town 1, Reading 1. I'm hoping we're going to get a couple more in over the next second or two. Luke says Town 3, Reading 1. There we go. Now we're on to some positivity. Steve, continue the positivity, please, while we get a couple more predictions in on our comments.
Steve,
There's a reason I've come to you first, because I know where the positivity's coming.
Yeah, well, Oliver at the end. Yeah, we know that. Town 0, Reading 2.
Brilliant. Okay, Cal.
Cal, continue it.
You want a positive from me?
I just want I'm trying to find any kind of positivity out with Steve, which we've found out there isn't any.
There is. I'm talking about the fish.
Yeah, true. And then we just got some. This is just back to general predictions, Cal. As Ian said, 3-0 Reading. Oh,
You thought that was 3-0 Town, didn't you?
No. I saw it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, all for the effects.
Look at the one above it. Look at the comment above it. That's nice.
I know. We've gone through Luke's.
Oh, right, that's fine then. Well, in that case, mine is Huddersfield Town 1, Reading 3.
Woo!
Oliver, sometimes I feel like giving up. I really feel like giving up. But come on, just save me. Save me,
Well,
Oliver.
You've got the chance to do the funniest thing ever here. Can I just say?
No, I better not. No, I was just listening to 2 weeks ago when Stephen did an intimidation. That's the wrong word. You did a quote from me, so I was just trying to look at that quote. I think it's going to be a game of two halves, and I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory for Huddersfield against Reading. Definitely. Oh, we're at home, Fortress Aku as well.
Oh, Jesus God.
Get in there, Oliver. Hey, look at that. We've got positivity. We've got Jed with his Easter eggs on half price. That's a positive. I can't say any more apart from hope you all have a fantastic week. We'll probably speak to you in 2. Until next time, oh, wait a minute, sorry. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Talktown special. Terriers loves to Plymouth, the playoff hopes, Plummet. But it's been positive at the end. Thank you very much. Until next week, we shall see you then.